Hey, it's Tom Sinclair. It's time for Streaming Idiots. I'm your chief idiot, and boy, am I an idiot today. So stick around and let's talk about it. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome to Streaming Idiots. Tell you what, some days I'm an idiot, some days I'm a streaming idiot. It's kind of like a blooming idiot. Anyway, welcome to the show. The whole idea behind the show is that you don't have to be real bright to do streaming. And man, am I evidence of that. There are days. No, the whole idea is that if you're passionate about something and you would like to share that something with the whole wide world, there's a great way to do it, and it's called streaming, live streaming, internet broadcasting, video podcasting, whatever you want to call it. You can be an idiot and still do it and get your message out to, because there are probably tons of folks all over that would love to hear about what you're doing. We interviewed somebody, I guess it was probably a year and a half ago, that was using VidBlaster and had a passion for die-cast cars. And he had an immense die-cast car collection. And I think he still does, a weekly show where he would show, and he had a little microscope camera, so he could get the little teeny weeny detail in a 1/64th car, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and he loved it. He had a great show, and that's because he was passionate about it and he wanted to share it with other people. So if you've got a passion, this may well be your medium. And if you say, well, I'm not a good-looking guy and I don't have a great voice, and don't worry about that. Look at me. Gee whiz. Listen to my voice. The idea is that you share information that people are interested in. You create a community of folks that share that interest. It's kind of like a neighborhood. It's kind of like a group of friends. And sometimes those friends are just not in your hometown. I've got friends in the chat room right now that, are in South Carolina and Oklahoma and let's see, Manchester, England, and other places that we share common interest, and so it's a great way to share that common interest, and especially if you know a lot about it, and you can share with folks that don't know quite as much. And my job is to try to stay one step ahead of everybody else in terms of talking about streaming. Not really. I kind of got into this quite by accident several years ago when I was streaming my son's soccer games and developed a lot of experience. I won't call it expertise yet, but I certainly got a lot of experience in doing it in a mobile format. We would take our show on the road to different places, and started doing it locally, and then created my own little studio, and we have a couple of shows going, and it's been just a lot of fun, and have met some great people from all over that have really become good friends. A client that lives in Tennessee was visiting the Gulf Coast a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was more like a month ago, and we went out for a great seafood dinner. And he and his wife and Sandy and I, and just had a blast. And we had a lot in common, a lot we could talk about, and it was really good. It's fun to make those kind of friends. Those are good friends to have. The show today, having gotten through our little monologue part at the very beginning, wanted to share with you some of my experiences with vMix 14. And we're not actually using vMix 14 for this broadcast because I wanted to be able to show it to you without using it. We're using VidBlaster, the beta version 3.30, to show you what vMix looks like, and we're streaming and recording this with Wirecast. And so, but we have vMix up, and we're using VidBlaster to capture the screen, and that is with what vMix 14 looks like for me when it very first pops up. And what I want to share with you is how I was able to get my audio to work in vMix, because audio has been one of the things that I've struggled to get going in vMix and has kept me from using it exclusively to produce a show. Sometimes I'll use vMix in conjunction with Wirecast, and then I'll let Wirecast just simply go to the mixer and get all the audio from the mixer. vMix tends to want to get into the audio area a little more deeply, and as a result, things that work fine with VidBlaster or Wirecast produce an echo that is feedback in vMix. So I've got written down in front of me the setup, and I'm going to go back and kind of recreate it with you. I haven't done this live, so we may get into a feedback situation, but we'll give this a try. So let's go back to that window. In vMix, in order to really do anything, you have to do what they call add an input. And so that's just, let's see if I can adjust this window so you guys can see that. Yeah, there we go. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, it's add an input, and a window will come up, and we are going to add an audio input right there. And so our audio device is going to be our microphone right there, and we'll leave everything else as standard. So you can see now that our first little input here on the left, the one with the green top, is now showing a volume meter on the right side, and you can see that the little green box right here says audio. If I click that, then the audio meter turns a different color to let me know that it's no longer active. And then here in the center block, the master output, I guess you would call it, is not showing anything. If I click that audio again, it'll come back. Click it again, it goes off. I can come over here to the right side of the screen, and let me pull that over a little bit to make a little bit more room. And you can see I've got a master control, I've got an A bus, and then I've got my microphone control right here. If I click the little mic, the little speaker icon here, it brings it back in. It's the same as clicking that button there to click the speaker off and on there. And we're not going to get into a lot of these other buttons at this point. So we're going to set, for my setup, we're going to take this off the master and send it to channel A. And if I turn it on now, the A control right here is the one that becomes active. Let's see. Let's also add a, let's just add an MP3. So we're going to add some audio, and I'm going to browse for something. Let's see if I've got some music here. Yeah, there's one. And so we'll bring that in. And so now I've got, let's turn that audio off for a second there. Now I've got the theme music for the Streaming Idiot show right here. And if I play it, I don't know if we can hear it if I play it. Nope, can't hear it. Maybe if we send it to the A bus or the B bus. Nope. Let's send it to A, and you can tell that now it's being sent to A. Let's see, and it's a little hot too, so we'll draw the volume down a little bit on that one. The other thing I want to do, and again we're just sort of setting the basics here. I want to go up to Settings, which is in the top right hand corner, and that's going to pop out a window. And in settings, I want to go down here to audio outputs. Now, unlike VidBlaster and more like Wirecast, the real guts of vMix are in these menus, and so you have to really kind of navigate them and understand them, and sometimes not understand them, as the case may be. Here I've got my master output set to none, my headphones set to none, my A bus set to speakers 2, and B is set to none. The default bus for new inputs is set to master, and I'm going to leave that as is. So now I have the ability, let's see, we're going to send that one there. Yep. And if I turn it on, it's going to send there. That's good. Now I have the ability to have in vMix my microphone and an audio source that comes from the PC. In this case, it's an MP3, but it could be a video. It also could be a Skype guest audio. And I can now mix those two and send those out, and I will not get an audio echo either in the recording or in the program feed or in my headset. And this is kind of how we tackled the vMix audio. And part of the issue for me is that at least so far as vMix is concerned, is that I was coming to this from a VidBlaster background, where VidBlaster is almost hands-off audio. Not really, because it records audio and it plays audio in the player and in the audio player. But other than that, VidBlaster is like, if you want to mix audio, you do that through a mixer and you send it back to me as one audio stream. Thank you very much. And so I kept trying to figure out how to make vMix do that, but vMix resisted and said, that's not how we do it here. We don't do it this way in Australia. That may be how you do it in Holland, but that's not how we do it in Australia. In Australia, we do it differently. And we want more control over your audio. We want separate audio. And one of the benefits, even though it's more complicated, one of the benefits to that is that the way vMix is set up is that if you have cameras that have audio in them, and let's say, for example, you were going to stream an automobile race, and you had a camera set up on turn 3, and built into that camera was a microphone. You could bring the camera feed back with the audio from the camera into your PC, and when you selected that input, when you selected that video input, the audio would come with it. So as you see the cars approaching you, and the car sound gets louder as they go by, you would actually pick that up at that camera. So that's a great benefit. If you've got a multi-camera shot and you can assign a particular microphone to that camera, so let's say you've got 4 panelists, each one with their own mic, and so you've got 4 cameras, so you're not switching cameras, panning back and forth to different people. And the cameras are set up as static cameras, so it's going to be an easy shoot. All you have to do is point and click. If you have the ability to bring in all 4 audio sources as 4 separate and distinct sources, you can assign one to each camera so that when you select the camera source as your main shot, it switches to that audio too. And the way vMix is configured, you can have other things like, let's say it's a panel with 4 speakers, but then there's a moderator also. You can have the moderator's mic live all the time, but the four panelists' mic only live when the camera is on their shot. And there are just lots of ways to configure that. So in terms of flexibility with audio, vMix seems to be a little bit more advanced. Now, with flexibility, with more ability comes more complexity. And you know me, you know I'm not a guy that likes a lot of complexity. I like simple because simple doesn't break as easy as complex breaks. And I'm just not very bright. That's the other part of it. Is it's got to be simple in order for me to do it. So vMix has been a wonderful challenge to me to go in and figure out and understand. And what I've just shared with you is indeed how I was able to make vMix work with my audio setup. My audio setup is a Behringer Xenix X1204 USB mixer that has several inputs into the PC from the mixer and a couple of inputs from the PC back to the mixer. And so it's a little tricky sometimes trying to figure out which input and which output goes with which, and adding the complexity of vMix on top of that. I mean, this has been a 5 or 6 week struggle in order for me to, well, maybe longer than that, in order for me to understand just how it works. You may just, for you it may just be like falling off a log. It's like, no problem, we can do this. But for me it was a bit of a challenge. But I do commend it to you. vMix looks like a very promising program. It's in version 14 now. I understand version 15 will be coming out maybe fourth quarter, tail end of this quarter, or first quarter 2015, with a full-blown instant replay system. So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes out. VidBlaster certainly was the first one to sort of cut into that with the slow motion instant replay. Wirecast has announced that they'll be releasing to the public Wirecast 6 sometime, I think, next month, and that'd be November 2014. So everybody's kind of jumping on that bandwagon, and it will be interesting to see, number one, how powerful the Wirecast instant replay is compared to vMix, compared to VidBlaster, and how easy to use it'll be, and how close to an industry standard it will be. That is, are people that are used to running professional level hardware going to feel comfortable in this, or are they going to have to kind of relearn it because it was not developed necessarily by somebody that had the background with how those things typically run? Now, they're all different. They all have their own quirks, but you do expect certain sort of basics to be in the program. Anyway, that's the story for vMix today, and a little nugget for Wirecast. I do want to commend to you one other thing that crossed my path this week, and it's an instant messaging system called Spot.im. Spot.im, and it can attach to your website, and it can act. I was talking earlier in pre-show that it can act like a little message board by your front door. So if you're not home, somebody drops by, they can just write you a little message there and says, "Hey, I dropped by you, and sorry I missed you, but call me when you get a chance." So I've got that actually attached right now to the front of my website, easternshorebroadcasting.com. You may want to go by and take a look at it, see if it's something that can be useful to you. I guess you could use it as a chat room for a broadcast, kind of a dynamic chat room. You certainly can use it to set up a private chat between you and somebody else if you wanted to, although there are lots of different ways to do that. But Spot.im looks promising, so you may want to take a look at that. Coming up on some future shows, we will be talking about, we had our show about wired intercom system for broadcasting a couple of weeks ago. That's been a very popular show. We will be talking about wireless intercoms for broadcasting here, and I'm not sure if that'll be next week or the week after. And if you'll sign up for our Twitter feed, we'll make sure that you get that. That's at VidBlaster Guy. And we also will be reviewing the Audio-Technica ATR 2100, which is a microphone that has the unique capacity to be used either with a mixer via, what do you call that, XLR, or to go straight into a PC via USB. My friend Mike Phillips in North Carolina, who is my audio guru, at least my audio guru here in the States, has tested the ATR 2100 and says that it is amazing for a $50 mic. And that he says if you're starting out and don't spend hundreds and hundreds on a Heil PR40 when you can get almost as good a quality in the ATR 2100. So we'll be testing that, putting that through its paces here on an upcoming show. And I've had it for a couple of weeks. I've been playing with it. I haven't really tested it. Testing and playing are a lot alike, except testing is sort of more formal. Playing is just sort of doing whatever you want to. I've played with it a lot, and I've been pleased with it. So pleased that we've actually added it to our streaming accessory store. You can go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click on the store, go to streaming accessories, and there we've put the kinds of things that if you're just getting started out, you might want to get, and that includes webcams, green screens, microphones, things like that. Oh, when we did our wired intercom system, we put all the components for that in there, and basically it's just links to Amazon. And they're all, I think almost all of them are actually fulfilled by Amazon, so they're quick ship. That's the important thing. We do get a little commission on it for advertising it, but we thought really it was most important to put things in front of you that I've personally tested. And in fact, there you'll see my notes on what I think of those things and how I use them. That kind of brings us to the end of our broadcast today. I'm really delighted that you guys would tune in live. For those of you that did turn in live, thank you very much. And for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, we commend you to subscribe to our channel, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, and you'll get a notice whenever we release a new video. We release that VidBlaster Guy shows on Wednesdays and the Streaming Idiots on Fridays. We record them all live to tape on Wednesday with a live audience. And so, hey, if you're free on a Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock in London, Thursday morning at 5 a.m., I think, in Melbourne, maybe 6 a.m., depending on the time change. Anyway, we'd love to have you come show up live and chat with us in the chat room. It's a pretty good group of guys there. So if you're watching live, hang on. I understand that Dr. Campbell has bought cake and ice cream for afterwards. And if you're not watching live, well, you need to tune in. Anyway, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster, the streaming idiot guy today. And boy, am I an idiot this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to having you again with us on a future show. Take care.